Jen Campbell my whole life and went to school with her. Everybody that went to school with her would know her to be somebody that didn't want to start drama, didn't want to be the center of attention, just honest, good person. So when she was contacting me with these concerns, I knew it had to be something pretty serious. I did not join the lawsuit against the city because I knew we hadn't identified the root cause yet. I knew whatever was going forward, there was no actual proof that it was coming from the water or what was going on, other than these independent tests. Jen started posting on Facebook about this Harvester Square toxic site. And I'm a busy mom, I'm a business owner, and I don't go on social media much anymore, but I saw a couple of the posts and I thought, what's that about? It took her posts coming through in my dreams to put everything together, because I'm a regulatory affairs specialist. I am a regulatory affairs subject matter expert. But because I was so busy with life, her posts kind of went in one and out the other. But my subconscious was putting it together. And so I contacted her recently and I said, Jen, can you send me what you're talking about for this Harvester Square site? I want to look at the files. So she sent me, and I have the script here, but I'm just going to try to wing this because I can say it better this way. She sent me the information she had, but she didn't know how to access it. So she found this hidden in the EPA's files. Wrong zip code, wrong spelling of the street name, wrong spelling of the site location, what we call hidden in plain sight, buried, just with enough little errors that the general community can't find it. She sent me the information, and because my background is as a regulatory affairs specialist, I work in the pharmaceutical and biotech and med device manufacturing. I perform audits and regulatory affairs, investigation, root cause analysis, and CAPAs. Environmental impact is one of the biggest areas we concentrate on and focus on. So I was able to access these files and read them. And for 2 weeks I didn't get back to Jen because I was reading these, taking time away from my work. I couldn't stop reading. I was shook. I was shook to my core by what I was reading. All of us grew up here in the 80s and 90s playing in the creek, letting our kids play in the creek, walking through the alley by what was then the Dinicola Harvester Square site, which is now, I don't want to call it any business names, but no.
A garden center.
A garden center. We all would walk the path to get to the pumpkin fest and the parade. All of us with our children walking through what we thought was soil. And these files conclusively prove the owner of that site dumped tons and tons of toxic foundry sand full of so much lead it would be enough to poison the entire city's children. We all walked through it. We all swam in the creek, played in the creek, let our kids play in that creek. I lived down the street from there. Many of my family members lived across the street from this. They died from cancer, severe childhood neurological illnesses that were labeled as behavioral issues or those type of things. Kid next door to where my in-laws lived, 17, he had nasal cancer. Guess what? That's hexchrome. Hexchrome causes that. I'm trying to keep it together here because this is very personal. When you see the kind of evidence in these EPA files, and you have the regulatory background to understand the technical reports, you understand just how devastating this is to our community. And I had to say to Jen, this is not just the water. What I found was inside the sub-basement, or in these files I found, inside the sub-basement of the Dinicola building, this toxic foundry sand had been just spread out with a skid steer through the whole facility and had gone down into the sub-basement, into the vault of the old water main. And in the ambulance sits currently, to this day, a cubic yard of foundry sand packed in and around What at the time they discovered it was an active water line connecting to the entire city's water. Not just water, but water and sewage. That was unknown. It's not mapped. At the time, it wasn't known and wasn't mapped. But they discovered it. And they pulled up old newspaper articles from the 1890s when it was installed. The city requested what's known as an engineered control. They didn't want to, because the lines were so fragile and so old, they didn't want to risk damaging the water supply by trying to get that out of there. Now, mind you, certain city officials knew about this when the lawsuit was filed. When the residents were coming forward saying, hey, we got lead in our water, where's this coming from? Did anybody come out and tell any of the residents this? Nope. And this was hundreds of residents. I mean,
Hundreds.
So many residents coming forward and saying this, and not one person came forward and said, oh yeah, wait, you know what, we did an engineered control, maybe that failed. Maybe we need to have somebody go in there and reassess this. Nobody did that. Instead, the EPA, and I'll say this right now, I definitely hold the EPA responsible for much of this. I'll stand on the record, I'll put my professional career. The things I read in this report are not according to EPA's own guidelines, and the city had a duty to warn us. They did put out 2 notifications, but they were very generic and very vague. They did not state the contaminants. They did not meet the requirements to notify the public and have the public's participation in making decisions of what was going to happen at this waste site. I've gone way off my script, but the EPA leaned on the lead copper rule. Oh, it's from the residential lines. The lead copper rule, the methodology, is to test the corrosion control methods of the city to ensure that lead lines from the house are not leaching from their own service lines. But with so many residents having no lead in their home and yet testing lead coming up in their test results, and knowing that this was on top of an old water line and had been sitting in the soil, oh, I forgot to say, oh, it drains into Martin's Creek and then the Kish. So yay.
Can you wrap it up?
Yes, I'm sorry. I am so
okay.
sorry.
And
It's
then
just the
if you
technical
finish
part of it
it.
is the lead copper rule is not it's not the correct methodology and testing standard for this. Source testing is. And there's still lead in the soil. When they were just doing repairs to work on the water lines, soil was detected. This needs to be handled. We need soil testing. We need source water testing. I'm not here to sue the city. That's not what this is about. This is to protect lives and let the doctors in the area know what's going on when they see children with these symptoms and people with these symptoms. I'll wrap it up. I'm sorry to take so much of your time. Thank you.
Thank you.